I read something and it said about honesty or transparency.
Mm-hmm.
The explanation they gave, they said honesty is if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Right.
Transparency is I'm gonna tell you before you have to ask.
Now I like that. I like that. I like the transparency.
And the lady said, she said, transparency is saying, baby, tonight I'm gonna go hang out with the fellas. I mean, might be a little sisters there, but that's how I'm gonna be. Honesty is when she found out an action, you say yeah.
Right.
What do you prefer? Me personally, so I like transparency.
I think I would prefer definitely transparency.
Everybody don't have that. Some people just honest person.
Yeah, I like that.
I like the transparency.
See, you can learn from everybody at any age. Told Aharon, I appreciate that.
And that stuck with me. Kind of like, man, I like transparency.
Shalom, shalom, and welcome to another episode of Living Chronicles. Today, I am blessed and honored to have here with me my brother, my friend, my one-time Hebrew instructor, Ahk Aharon, without the E on the end, as he informed me today, after spelling it wrong for 30 years.
Yep.
So, and look, we're matching. We both got on purple.
Yep.
This is by the Spirit. So, this is going to be great. So, welcome to Living Chronicles.
Thank you. Honored.
Okay. So, as always, we start with reading the bio. So, we have Ahk Aharon here. His name means high elevated place. He is a man of valor. Ahk Aharon came to Israel when he was 6 years old from Chicago, Illinois, and he's currently 60. And I was blessed to attend his birthday testimonial celebration. It was more than a party, and we definitely going to talk about that during the interview.
All right.
Okay. He has 13 children. And 5 grandchildren, no great-grandchildren yet.
Not yet. Thanks.
So during Aharon's life, he's accomplished a lot. He was on the YOM Council, the CFF Council. He was the chairman of the Brothers on the Move. He was a man of valor. Are you still a Hebrew language instructor?
No.
Y'all, he was my instructor at one time, and I wanted to strangle him. I'll tell y'all about that too. He is currently self-employed and has been for over 30 years. He spent 12 years. He did 12 years of school as an honor student. That was all in Kingdom School and Holiness.
Yeah, yeah.
That was pre-Beit Sefer Akfa, so we'll talk about that. 8 years in School of the Prophets. He attended college for 2 years, and he has played many sports, and he's currently playing softball with the ISA League. Is that the Israel
Softball Association.
Softball Association? What position you play?
Well, it varies. I mean, between
so
second base
you
and right field.
multi-talented then. You
I mean,
you
I'm
play
getting
more
there.
than one.
I'm getting there.
Okay. So, again, welcome to Living Chronicles.
Thank you.
So glad to have you.
Thank you.
So we're going to get started with how old were you when you came? 6 years old.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What was that like? What do you remember being a 6-year-old? Who all did you come with? How'd that go?
Okay. Naturally so, because there's a difference in the worlds. I remember a whole lot of stuff younger than 6.
Really?
Yeah. I remember a whole lot of stuff. However, I know preparing, my mother preparing for us, I know we had to wear these dashikis. It was these, it was Hebrew garments.
Right.
And we're prepared to go to Israel, not never knowing what Israel was like. They kind of like summed it up like we're going to Africa. And from what I knew as a kid, Africa, you're talking about the jungle and the animals and the lions
right.
and all this.
Right.
And then turn around and say the land flowing with milk and honey. So as a kid, that sounded like a lot of fun.
Oh, wow. Jungle, milk, honey. We're going to just have.
We're going to be living large.
Yes.
So the preparation was real fast because I do know that her sisters didn't like the idea that she was leaving. You know, my mother just got a job. I mean, she had a good job at the post office. And, you know, it's like just not getting on her feet.
Right.
And here it is, you talking about, you know, met this man. He didn't convince you to leave to go a whole nother country, which we know nothing about.
Right. And
So,
of course they thought she was crazy.
Right, you know it, absolutely. So the preparation was exciting as a child.
Okay. Right. And who else? I mean, it wasn't just you, your siblings.
Right. My mother, myself, and my twin brothers. We also was on a plane with the family of, it was a Kobatzion and Kana, Aman, his older brother, and Moshe. It was three of them on the same. We was all on the same plane. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In 1971.
1971.
Yep.
So when you got here.
Okay, so getting here, it definitely wasn't a jungle.
What was it? What they call a concrete jungle.
Right. We went to the Shkodat Nitzachon, and naturally so all the kids was out welcoming us, you know what I mean, singing the song like, "What's your name? My name is Ada. You what's your
really?
name?" Right. So it was real live and real
exciting.
welcoming and exciting. You know, as a kid, you want a lot more kids around that just like the world. So the welcoming was real good. I didn't really care so much on if it was a jungle or wasn't a jungle. Just now we somewhere else new with a bunch of more kids, and that was good enough for me.
Okay, that was good enough for you. How'd your brothers like it?
Same. I mean, we like about a year and 10 months apart, so
okay,
it was the same.
Pretty much
for them.
the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, growing up in the kingdom, tell us about Kingdom School and Holiness, about your Emah, about life, just life. You know, growing up.
Okay. Grew up in a time that the community at large was struggling. Financially mean food, clothing, shelter.
All of everything the money can buy.
Right. Right. So literally grew up without having. I think during them days was eating bulgur most of the time.
Bulgur for lunch, bulgur
dinner,
for breakfast,
lunch
bulgur for
and
dinner, bulgur loaf. You're not the first person that told that part of the story.
So, and then you know they had hoarded a whole lot of grain, so that mean it, you know, started getting buggy.
Of course.
So you can't pick the bugs out. So I mean, they serve you your plate, and there be a lot of bugs in it. So we would pick them out and put them to the side, or the ones we missed, we eat it. I mean, you know, wasn't a big deal.
It was life.
As kids, it was the unity, the fun, camaraderie ship, it was just unimaginable. Like we was really, really, really one big family. Because like what I ate, you ate. Whatever gym shoes I wore with the toe cut out of it, you had some too. So it was
There were no
high and low.
yes, everybody was the same.
The same.
Did that
If I slept on the floor,
did that change at some point?
it sure did.
Talk about that. Not now, but
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about that.
Like I said, so I slept on the floor, you slept on the floor.
Yeah.
If it was 30 of us in the house, it was 30 people in your house too.
Right.
You know what I mean? If it was a bunch of strangers in your house, it was a bunch of strangers in my house. So it wasn't nothing to compare with.
Right.
But what we did have, we were just happy to have.
Right.
As a youngster, all the way up to probably about, I give it 17, 18, I was a thief. And until I got older, like in my 30s, I realized why I was a thief. I only stole food. Or I would steal money just enough to go buy some food.
But you probably were not alone. You probably were not the only child.
Yeah. Everybody
did that.
was. Everybody had the same situation.
Because everybody was hungry.
Right.
And you're
right.
going to, I don't care where you at on the planet. If you hungry, you're going to
figure
steal.
it out.
Either
Right.
you steal some
Right.
food or you're
Right.
going to steal some money to get some food.
Right. I remember I had a punishment is a mark on my right here that they're going to cut my hand off. Because of the Bible said, you're a thief, you cut their hands off. So they had a butter knife, and the mark is still there. I think I stole a lira.
That's when we used the lira, right?
Right.
And the lira wasn't
it ain't
no
even
money.
a shekel. I don't know what the
It
money
ain't
is.
even worth
Nothing.
a shekel.
Right. So like I said, once I got older, I realized why. Because I used to say, man, I had to steal so much. But then when I got older, I realized what I was stealing and why I was stealing. As a kid, I was just a thief. I stayed on punishment
you
for
weren't
stealing.
a thief, you were just hungry.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
what they labeled it.
You are right.
But you were hungry.
Right. Growing up in the kingdom, I was always a class above my age.
Oh, okay.
I started off in school in Mitzpah.
So you did the whole every city like all of the children did with Kingdom School.
No, I never did.
You didn't do a ride.
No.
Okay.
My first classes was in Mitzpah. Because we came to Dimona, we stayed here for a little while, then we moved to a ride for like just some months, and then we moved to Mitzpah.
Okay.
So I remember being double promoted in school from the 7 and 8 to the 11 and 12. That means I was leaving Mitzpah, coming straight to Dimona for school.
Wow.
And I was young. Naturally so, growing up in a nation, not knowing English, I called Maxima. I stayed with a called Maxima. And she literally helped me with English.
Wow.
I was what do they call it, a tad tongue? Like
tongue-tied.
Tongue-tied. I would popo, like a lot of things, the TH, I couldn't pronounce it. So she literally helped me with my English, which my brothers didn't get it, I did. Because they didn't, we was all separated.
In different cities.
We was in different houses.
Oh, y'all weren't even all in the same house together.
Nope. Because my Emah got deported. No, she got picked up. And she was incarcerated, at least, from what I remember, at least about a year or so. So we was everywhere scattered. I was always, like I said, at the top of my class. I actually was, now you can say it's biased, but I was a good son. So I got a lot of awards of being like, I was the one that always gave a kavod, mannerable. The thing that needed to be done around the house, I would stay around the house and do them. I mean, we'd have to pick boga, pick sesame seeds, all that stuff. I would be the best at it. Now, naturally, so as a kid, you did do mischievous stuff and got, with your friends and whatever.
That's
but
kids.
as far as, right? But as far as outwardly, I was always a good son. So my Emah got picked up. I think it had to be in 73. Okay, I ain't got the years correct, but it was like around 73. Eddie Dodd had already got picked up.
Your Emah
So-
married Ahk Aharon when she got here,
When she got here, right.
but that's who she came here.
Right.
for-
That
with?
he
He's the
brought
one
her
that-
into the truth.
He brought her into the truth.
And
Okay.
I mean, he came like some months after we got here.
Okay.
And she ended up marrying him. I think it was a Noah Passover. They had one big wedding, and he married her then, which she gave birth to 2 children, 3 children actually. One was stillborn. Another one passed away. Her name was Bilga when she was about 3.
3 years old.
Right. And then Yonit,
Your sister Yoni.
your sister Yonit. So growing up in the nation was, to me, was a real good experience. It was a unity that we had that was just unmatched of anything going on today. We looked out for each other. I mean, parents to children and on. Anybody was your parent. Any adult was your parent.
Okay.
And not just when it came down to whooping, but your well-being, your making sure you was
Looking
good
out
and all
for
that,
you,
looking out for you and all
everything.
that. So, naturally, so that change came about when we started getting things
From the U.S.
from the U.S.
When suitcases started
Suitcases
coming
started
in.
coming in, but the suitcases never reached my area. You know, I remember times when the fortunate, I don't want to call no names, but the fortunate that was getting the suitcases, they were throwing underwear away because they had it. You know, dirty, wear too much, and they throw it away
Because they didn't want to wash it.
because they didn't want to wash it.
And that was pre-washing machines.
Right.
When
That
everybody
we
was
had to do by
washing by
hand.
hand. And
Right.
a lot of children wash their own clothes.
Most of us, boys, girls, they make a difference. And me and my brothers, we had to wash ours overnight because we didn't have. You know, I remember one New Year Passover. Eddie Doe was on an assignment. By now, my Emah had passed, and my brothers went and bought some material. We cut some shirts and sewed it by hand.
You all cut the shirts.
We cut the shirts and sewed
them
it by hand. And we wore jeans. And, you know, so growing up, I actually had to start working at 11
Wow.
because I wanted some things that
There was
we
no
didn't
way
have.
for you to get.
Like them
right.
suitcases wasn't coming to my house.
So your Emah had passed by then?
My Emah had passed by then. And Eddie Doe was on assignment. He didn't get the luxuries that was coming through. Well, nothing came my way anyhow. So I had to start working at 11. I mean, we were doing my peer between stairs, working in ball halls, like serving, cleaning floors,
Washing dishes.
washing dishes. Any job that was available, we was on it.
And really, legally, y'all wasn't even supposed to be working,
right,
at the Olamot
right.
like that.
Right. It got to some point that we was making more money than my Abba was making.
Wow.
And he got set down by the Sarim and told him and said, your children is handling more money than you. You need to take their money. That's a story within itself because that wasn't just easy like that.
Yeah,
know.
I know that did not sit well with y'all.
Nope. I remember on the Moshav. You know, on the Moshav, we all went to the Moshav. I think by the time then we was 18, 17, 18,
You
19.
talking about the Rachavot Moshav?
The Rachavot Moshav, the Orange Moshav. And, you know, when you get paid, somebody will come up from the Ministry of Economics with everybody's bag and your name on it.
Right.
Ruvain's Abba, Rabbi took his, and he knew it. He didn't even go line up for it because he already knew that Abba took his. Because they had, whatever the relationship they had was different. We would get there waiting on ours, and they say, Eddie Doe got it. We used to get some money from our friends, get on the bus, and march ourselves down to Dimona to get the money from them. That was a fight within itself.
Right.
You know, and we didn't know this till later that he was told to do this. Like, once we got grown and passed it, and then he told us, man, they sent me down and told me y'all was home more money, man, and for me to take y'all money. However, we still hustled and still made money. So that got me prepared for responsibility.
Yes. Y'all, he is one of the most responsible brothers that I have ever known. And he was younger than me, but he stood on principle. His yay was his yay, his nay was his nay, and don't try to convince him to change his mind.
Yeah.
I used to be so mad at him sometimes, but I learned a lot from him.
Yeah. So, like I said, we was in the maybe like 15. We was buying our own school supplies because we wanted the top of the line school supplies. We was buying like I said, buying our own clothes, getting them made, paying for it. You know, our own shoes. We really like took care of ourselves. So Eddie, though, he couldn't afford to take care of us, but he didn't have to at that point because we started doing it on our own.
Right.
You know. I mean, we was having a lot of money. I mean, because we just hustled and worked. We were going to school, being the top of the grades, and then doing evening jobs.
You've been working since you were a child.
Literally.
It's time for you to retire.
Well, we'll talk about that too. Like I said, I was the first SOPER, which is a Boy Scout. In my young years, I got honors for being the top of my class in several subjects. Honor for respect, because I had to go around and give it kavod. And this wasn't nothing I was doing for show. Kavod was like a part of me.
Right.
You know. So I always found myself in leadership positions growing up in the kingdom, whether, like I said, on councils, or head of committees, or so on and so forth. And it kept me all the way to my adult years. You know. As far as my mother passed in the beginning, January of 78. In 78, the beginning of 78, I was 12. For me as a kid, that was the most devastating time of my life.
Absolutely.
At 12, you lose your mother, which at the time, Eddie Doe was a SAR, which I mean he had nation responsibilities. He married Kamuta Montana, who had a daughter. She knew nothing about no teenagers, not no teenager boys anyhow.
Right.
So we struggled as far as the parent is concerned, but because we stayed together,
The three of you
the
all.
three of us were like, we stayed together. As a matter of fact, I was closer with my older brother, which is a twin, than what I was with the Kananyah. I was closer to Kananyah, which is the older twin,
Right.
than I was with Anafiel. When Kananyah left, that when me and Anafiel got close. But prior to that, if I was to raise up and fight Anafiel, Kananyah would jump in. If I was to fight Kananyah, Anafiel would jump in. They never jumped on my side.
So it was always the twins
It
against
was
you.
the twins against me. Which, again, a lot of things as a child, you see it one way.
Right.
And when you get older, you understand that they was one.
Right. They were
You know,
one.
I mean, literally so.
They shared the womb.
Right, right. So they had to protect each other. So it was so many things growing up that made me who I am today. Responsible. I try my best to keep my word. When I got married to Ziwa, I was 22. She was 21. Started having children. As she was having children, she didn't have to work a day. Even when I married Doria, which is like 6 kids later, and we moved outside the Kafar, neither of them had a job and didn't have to have a job. Raise the kids.
Wow. That's how you wanted it. You wanted
That's
them
how I
to
wanted
be
it.
at
That's how I
home
wanted it, right.
with the children.
Right. It wasn't until maybe like the 11th child that they went out and worked. You know,
Well, I would guess so.
the
After
strife.
11.
Yeah, the strife in the family that they end up separating and so on and so forth. So if I put it on paper today, how I did it, couldn't even tell you.
You don't even know.
You don't even know.
You're just getting up every day,
going to
putting
work.
one foot in front of the other.
Yep. And then I wasn't working for myself. I was working for somebody and doing it. You know, so they were paying the minimum wage like everybody else. But I know that because the responsible man that I was taught to be as a child, I carried that on to my adult life. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that bothers me is when I see a irresponsible man.
We're not going to talk.
You know me, you know.
that we're going to keep to ourselves.
That's how me and her got close.
Right.
We lived together.
Yes,
so.
yes, absolutely. Yep, lived with him with all of his children when they were small children.
Yeah.
And my daughter shared the room with your daughters. My son was in the room with your sons. It's a boys' room, the girls' room.
Yeah.
Our bedrooms are right across from each other.
Yep.
So,
that close. That close.
Yep.
One of the things in the nation is growing into adulthood, there was a trial period that, quote unquote, you had to prove that you were the adult. Mm-hmm. And on the other hand, you still a child. So it took years before got recognized as an adult. When I say years, probably in my 30s. I mean,
in
like
your 30s?
over, like at large. I mean, you had individuals that respected it, but it was always bang, bang, bang. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm having my name.
Right.
You know, and that was like the spirit of it. But I remember living in the house of Yehuda's house. I think before you moved there, I stayed in the house. It was Avior and his 2 wives.
Right.
Ahk Yehuda and his 2 wives. I thought Racayah. It was a bunch of older sisters. And it was Yehuda and Avior and myself. I had to take care of the house money. So I remember I was doing security on Shishi nights. So when I come in, there'd be a bunch of dishes. And, you know, back then it was like when the lights went out, everything went out.
Everything went out. But the kitchen was supposed to be clean before sundown.
Right.
Everything was.
I had to come in from security, knocking on these grown women doors, and say, "Got to get them clean the kitchen."
Yeah.
When they tried to buck me, I remember Yehuda saying, he said, "Get up! You heard the man."
That's all that was required.
That's all required. But after that, for a while, they got used to me doing it, and he supported it. You know, so living with Yehuda, that was the experience within itself too.
Yes, it was.
Great brother.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
great brother.
Yes. Yep.
So,
and I just got to throw this in here. You stood on law. I don't know if you got to see your book that everybody wrote in for your birthday, because I mentioned it in there.
Okay.
But on Shishi's, you know, it was a rule that at a certain time, all of the kids had to have their showers. And if they didn't, because then it was the brothers' time. Because it was limited hot water.
Yeah.
You know, the dude could only be on for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And I remember one Yom Shishi, I was running behind, and, you know, still the sisters was able to go in. I said, well, I'm going to send Naomi... Bitula. I'm gonna send her in for me. You was like, no, you're not. The kids were supposed to be done already. I was so mad at him. I just wanted to strangle him. I was so mad at you. But there wasn't nothing that I could do because you stood on what the position was. Yeah.
So there's a lot of experiences in the nation that made me the person I am. I did stand on principle. I did get away with some things. I mean, like, it was nothing you could say to me about what's wrong in the nation that I didn't have an answer for. I had all the answers. I don't care what you told me. I had all the kingdom answers for it. As I grew up.
As you got older.
I done had answers for myself.
Right. Right. And that's how life goes.
Okay.
That's how life goes. We think we know everything when we're younger. You know, when we get a little bit older, like, get some experience under our belt, you know. Right. Like, let me rethink that.
So even raising children, I was like what I was taught. Spare the rod, spoil the child. So the first 6 children, I didn't spare the rod at all. It took until maybe like the 12th and 13th child. Well, matter of fact, 13th child never got a whooping for me.
At all.
The 12th child, here and there. The 11th child, here and there. But I just learned that there was a better way. Mm-hmm. And whooping ain't always the solution.
Right.
I mean, you could whoop, but they still do it.
Right.
I remember I had a daughter, Maskila, and I had to tell her, I said, come home after school every day. I said, if you don't come home, I'm going to whoop you. The first day she didn't come home, I warned her again. The second day, I whooped her. The third day, I whooped her. The seventh day, I whooped her, and she kept coming home early. I'm like, okay, you won.
You couldn't whoop her no more.
Couldn't whoop her no more because it's like
you?
she clearly ain't doing what you said, and the whooping ain't making her change.
She was truly your child.
For sure.
Yeah. So you talked about children today. That's how do you see children today as compared to the relationship that you all had when y'all were growing up and y'all were kids?
Okay, it was amazing because some brothers were just talking about that on our way to the game yesterday, and the difference in generations. You know, me growing up without having, I couldn't dare look at an adult funny. I couldn't say you were lying. If they say, so you telling me he lying? I said, no. Knowing they lying. But you just, the respect that they made us have, the discipline, the fear, I mean, unmatched. They taught us, you are the kings and queens of this world. If you tell a child that every day, I promise you, some people say it's arrogant, but it builds a confidence in them that you can't tear down.
Right.
So you can't tell me that all the years and then one day you tell me you're not a king or a queen, or you're not, you arrogant, or you made that.
Right.
Because this is what you instilled in my generation.
Right.
Okay. So now flip to when I had children. My oldest child today would be 37. My youngest is 16. So that's like a 3 generation of kids that I had in turn. And each of them generation brought something different that me as a parent didn't know the answer to. Me not having got whooped by anybody. When I started having kids, it's like, God forbid. That's not happening.
And ain't nobody whooping my kids.
Ain't nobody whooping my kids. If it's going to be a whooping, it's going to be me.
Right.
But ain't nobody whooping my kids without a thorough investigation.
Right.
I also taught my kids to, no matter what it is, tell me the truth.
Right.
And I can protect you from there. But if you lie to me, I can't protect you. So it was some incidents when people tried to whoop my kids and it got real ugly because I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You don't have the right.
Right.
Now, the flip side to that is kids started playing on that. Okay? All the things that I didn't have, I made my children have it. I mean, it like you could ask in a newer Passover, 2 outfits, 2 pair of shoes.
2 pair of shoes, not one.
2 pair, not one. These are things that I didn't have.
And you made
I'm
sure.
talking about brand new, I made sure they had. Food, I bought abundance. I was buying it, and back then I was buying crates and boxes. I go to Shook in the morning and buy boxes and crates. It was just too much food.
Right.
Because these are the things that we was lacking. This also brought about disrespect, entitlement. It brought about some things that we wasn't like that.
Right.
You know, an adult couldn't come and tell me one thing and then my child tell me another, and I just walk off and say she telling the truth.
As far as the adult.
As far as adults,
yeah,
I wouldn't allow it, wouldn't accept it.
Right.
Because I knew as a kid, adults lied.
Yes.
So when I got older, I even knew more than that.
Right.
I remember one time, I'm in my room instead of Yehuda's house, and I hear my son, Yehalel, the oldest, I hear him crying. I looked and said, "What's wrong with him?" And somebody said, "He broke a glass." I went out there and she had whooped him. I said, "Hold on. He's not crying because he broke a glass.
He crying because he got a whooping."
Say that.
And I'm sitting right here.
And I'm sitting here. But even if you're going to do that, say that. Don't
lie.
Don't lie about it, because that's a lie. He ain't crying because he broke no glass. He crying about his man. but you spanked them. Mm-hmm. So I stood on the principle. I believe my kids because they never lied to me. Mm-hmm. My kids never stole from me. I had to keep money freely out. They never stole from me, never lied to me. They might did some other things, but they never did them things. Mm-hmm. You know. So, and now it's even worse. Look, we didn't have phones.
Right. No internet.
We didn't no internet.
Social media.
The one TV that we had, it was whatever Israeli showed, and everybody watched the same TV.
Because it was right there in the front room.
It was right there in the front room.
Everybody piled in there together.
Watching the same whatever, Moby Dick or something in the light, whatever it was.
Right.
With the video player.
Remember when you used to rent the videos? But they had a whole committee that approved what you could
if you
rent.
could watch it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the flip side to it. The way you was raised, a lot of times you try to change that for your kids. If you was raised in poverty, you don't want your kids to be in poverty.
Right.
So that worked in every generation, and it got worse and worse and worse and worse. You know, like kids have today phones at 6.
At 6, they give a baby a phone just to get them to be quiet.
Be quiet, yeah. And they be doing all this.
Destroying their children's minds.
Yeah.
No.
And it's the way of the world. It's like, look, I remember that my last child was in the Ghana, and they were talking about she needed a phone.
The Ghana, in kindergarten?
But she was going to Israeli school.
Still.
And we didn't allow her until she got into Kita Aleph. The explanation that was given, which made sense at that time, is that she needed to be in contact with you all in an Israeli school at all times. Accepted it. Right. So the point is on how things change.
Right.
We was made to play outside because we had nothing else going on.
Right. And then we were living 30 to a house, so there wasn't nowhere to play in the house anyway.
So we played outside, had fun, enjoyed it. Wasn't no screens stopping you or none of that kind of stuff. So children are definitely different than what we was raised.
Right.
You know. And even the first generation kids I had, they different than the generation today. Mm-hmm. You know. The level of respect. The thing they're doing for an adult today, like have no respect. They're just anything. I remember buying chips, man, and I was sweating when I heard them went way around the other corner to eat them. I was sweating.
Right.
You know,
because we didn't eat those things back then. We didn't do those things.
Right.
You know.
Right. And I've also learned even with kids, it's like I snuck and ate something we have to eat. So it wasn't a big deal to me when I see my kids do it.
Right.
I'm like, shit, I was a kid. Don't forget now. You just sneak and eat it. What you think?
Right.
So I remember a lesson my papa taught me. Ellie did. I mean, one time I had some cookies. I brought them in the house, and I had some in my pocket, and I fell asleep on the bed. Right. I woke up. You know how you wake up and you see a cookie crumbs all over the bed? And I'm like, I'm about to die because Eddie was about to kill me. He was so calm. He said, I'm not mad that you eating these cookies. I'm mad that you had the audacity to bring them in my house. He said, if you want to do that, don't bring it in my house. That's a valuable lesson for me.
Right.
Because whatever you do, you respect.
You expect respect home.
Respect home.
Yeah, but you're not crossing the door, the threshold with that.
Right.
You know? Yeah, leave that outside.
That was a good lesson for me. My Emah, one of the things that she always said is be thankful for what you have.
Yeah.
So we didn't have, but I was thankful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That bowl of bogle meant a whole lot.
Because there really was a child somewhere on the planet that didn't even get the bowl of bogle with the bugs.
Yeah.
You know, my father taught us the same thing. You know.
I remember growing up eating out the garbage. Like, you know, it'd be a piece of cornbread with beet juice on it. We used to brush it off and eat it. I mean, you know, like...
Just hungry.
It was serious.
Yeah.
It was serious, you know. And this is not to say that our parents didn't provide.
They did
the best had nothing to provide.
Yeah.
They didn't have nothing. I'm talking about the 70, the 71, 72. Then it started changing, but it was rough.
Wow.
You got a question for
No, you can continue
Okay.
to talk. I'm just making sure we're staying on track.
as a husband, as being married, the nation way of God, man, woman, and child was the way that I was taught. Mm-hmm. So that's how I came into marriage. Yeah, me, you, then the children. Mm-hmm. And I governed like that. I remember back in the day, it was a lot of pressure on brothers who had no wives, one wife, two wives, three. It's always like, you ain't married, get married. And,
Right.
and that's how I still come in and front all the brothers off about you
Yeah.
you only got one, you ain't got nobody, get you another.
Right.
So whether you could or couldn't, you did it because you can. Could you physically or mentally or deal with another woman emotionally? There's a lot of things that you need other than just laying up in the bed.
Right.
So, naturally, so when I married my second wife, there was some friction between me and Ziwa about it because me and Doria I was literally trying to be her friend.
Trying to be her friend.
I was trying to be her friend.
I remember when y'all were pursuing, when she would
And
come over to the house and I would see her in your
Yeah.
room. Yeah, I remember that.
And I was trying to be her friend because she was, at the time, she was in this relationship with Abraham. And I was trying to be a friend of hers and help her through it and all that. Naturally, so you know how that be. We got close and we started liking each other. So, but during the process of that, people were saying, me and Doria got something going. Me and Doria got going on. So that's the same thing go to my wife.
Right.
So now.
And meanwhile, wasn't nothing going on at that point.
Meanwhile, wasn't nothing going on.
But I know you. If they going to accuse me, I might as well do it. I can hear you say it in your head.
When we decided to do it, it was way months later. Right? But it's like now I have to go home and tell my wife that now I do, which she, in her mind, I knew all along anyway.
Right.
So there's friction. Naturally so, did it anyway, because we can.
Yeah.
And brought one of the things that I believed in, I don't give a fly what. We all stand in one house.
In one house, yeah.
2 wives, 1 billion kids, but we all in one house.
Under one roof.
Under one roof. Had I known better earlier or thought better earlier, a lot of the things that they went through or we've been through, it wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Because I learned that every woman needs a space that they can express themselves in a way they want to express.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember when they finally separated and they had separate houses, I had to complain because I was like,
you had to go back and forth.
I had to pack clothes to get to that house, and I forgot my house shoes. Or it was a little bit. It seemed like it's nothing. I needed my red socks. I didn't have them. Or the little bitty stuff that just was like the most uncomfortable thing that could go on. But they was doing a whole lot better in separate houses than they were doing in the house together.
Right.
On their own terms, we'll go eat lunch with each other. We'll go visit her after days of not.
Right.
But there were some things that I stood on no matter what. Holy days.
All together in one house.
In one house.
Yeah.
She meals initially in one house until that got kind of inconvenient for Doria because, little kids.
She had the smaller children.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I had to understand that. It took me a minute. It was a fight. I said, okay, at least she, and we do the birthday dinners.
Right.
The birthday dinner was, we have a she, like whoever birthday was, that she, everybody in the family, baby on up, had to buy that person a gift. And when you give the gift to that person on that meal, you had to say something good about them.
Oh.
Kids always fought about it. You ugly, you this. So now here's the time you had to stand up and say something about them. So that was the tradition that we kept forever.
Still to this day.
Well, today, I only have one child left. At home. So,
yeah, but even with your birthday party, everybody came. All of your children. I love that the children came in from all the way across the planet, and everybody shared their thoughts to Abba. Yeah. And I think Shifa mentioned it. This was our birthday tradition. Right. Y'all, it was beautiful. I was almost in tears.
Yeah. So, so again, if I was to, well, let me straighten this. I still believe in plural marriage.
Okay.
Okay. I will not exercise plural marriage without the consent of my wife.
Right.
I'm not messing up nothing
Right.
with her for nobody.
Right.
Now, if you like me, you want to get to know me, get to know her first. Let her approve it.
Right.
If she approve it, we good to go. If she don't,
Okay.
I ain't messing up.
Ain't nothing
nothing
happening.
happening.
Well, one thing that I truly love is the fact that even though you and Doria had split up for years, y'all came back together, and that is like unheard of.
Well, yeah.
You know, and that was beautiful. That
Let me explain. I'm gonna give you a little detail on that. Me and Ziwa grew up together. We basically the same age, almost to the same class. And school of prophets went together. So when we finally got married, we was really like buddies.
right.
So she knew everything about me. I knew everything about her. When she left, she took a great portion of me.
Right.
I was soulless, heartless,
Wow.
because we was that close. I had nothing to give Doria. I had nothing for her. I couldn't even tell her I love her then, because Ziwa had really took everything from me.
Wow.
When I decided to leave Doria, because I needed to clear me, I actually got into Root, because Root was the same generation of Ziwa, same type of woman, same. So that's what made me get into her, because I was still looking for something that was
Right.
still missing. I think we about 4 years, and me and Doria still kept a close relationship, because when we separated, wasn't no court. Let's go to court and all that. I said, look, baby, this is what I can do. Literally, I looked at my mascot and said, this is what I can do every month. Now, working for yourself don't mean that every month you're gonna make $20,000.
Right.
You can 1 month don't make nothing,
Right.
and then next month you can make 20. So what that does, you still have to live in the month that you didn't do nothing.
Right.
So if you spend everything in this month, when that month comes around in a minute, you're in trouble.
So you got to budget it out.
So you got to, and if you don't budget it out, you always in a catch up or behind or
Right.
trying to figure it out. So I told her, I said, look, baby, this is what I literally can do. But I'm gonna tell you this: if this ain't enough, take me to court. I said, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen at court. They got to go by what I actually got on paper. What I actually got on paper, what I actually make ain't the same.
Right.
I told her this straight. I said, ain't nothing they can do. And whatever they say, I'm going to pay that.
And that's it.
Don't say nothing to me about nothing. I said, but if you take what I'm offering you, I will try to help extra when I can. I mean, one day they told me her blender broke. When I bought her a blender. I mean, so I still tried to help out when I
Right.
can.
Right.
Edith, which is the baby now, she was somewhat responsible for me and Doria getting back together too, because she wouldn't do nothing without knowing that I'm there. She was like, call Mama, tell him. Call Mama, tell him we're doing this. She like made sure I was at all her events. If Emah was going, she wanted me there. So that kind of kept us kind of close too. So outside and away, I got to know a different Doria.
Right.
She got to know a different me. I wasn't the same man at that point. I mean,
Right.
going through the relationships taught me some other ways to be a man. You know what I mean? My belief on just God, man, and everybody, know nothing that dad.
Right.
You know, I respect a woman for what she know too. You know, today I can cook. I think I can cook better than a lot of sisters.
Because you had to start cooking for yourself.
But when I go, I had to start cooking for myself. But when I go in the kitchen with Doria, I know nothing. I'm like, baby, should I put some salt in it? You know how to cook that thing, but should I do it? Because
That's her domain.
That's what she do. She better than me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to respect what she was good in. If she could outpaint me, she'd be the one painting. That's how I looked at it. I hate folding up clothes.
So do I.
So I don't fold up clothes. She fold up clothes. I get them out the washing machine and fold them up. I mean, and hang them up. So it's like we got a rhythm.
Y'all got a rhythm that works
and it has
for y'all.
nothing to do with man or woman. It has something to do with who the best at it, who can get to it first, who could. I help a lot in the house.
Oh, that's great.
She the woman of the house, so she got the final touch or the final say when it comes down to certain things. And I don't feel bad about it. Like,
Right.
I'm a man, you do what I say. You know. So this is just something that was over the years that I've learned and gathered and noted that that's the best way.
So when are you going to start giving classes to some of the other brothers?
I don't know if they're ready to accept me. You know. I remember going to a wisdom hut. And it was a group of brothers.
Do they still do those now when brothers get married?
They still
okay.
do. The only problem is you have the me's and you have the them. Robbie first, God first. Is you do the way he, that has his place to me in my life today. I pray to the Creator. Now, if you want to call him God, Yah, Robbie, whatever you want to call him, but I pray to the Creator. Okay. And I feel that he guided me to be.
Right.
Without that, nothing. But I'm the God of my house, and she the goddess in my house. And I respect her like that. Now, we still have some disagreements here and there, which are part of.
I mean, everybody's going to disagree.
Husband and wife have it. Brother and sister have it. Brother and brother have it.
Hell, I disagree with myself.
Right.
It just be me talking to me.
Right. That's a good one. I hear that one. That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah.
But sometimes you think about something. Should I? Should I?
Yeah.
Yes.
You disagree with yourself. Yeah. So that's a natural thing. How you deal with it, to me, is the issue.
Right.
I think jealousy is natural.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah.
I think jealousy is like, look, let's get this straight. God said, I am a jealous God. We God's children, we jealous too.
Right.
How you deal with the jealousy is the problem.
Yeah.
So what I would say to a brother today as relate to plural marriage, be true to who you are, make standards, livable standards that you're going to maintain under all circumstances. Look, you do have to deal with women differently because they're different beings. But stick to a text or stick to what you really believe in.
Right.
And make them all govern themselves according to that.
And then be honest.
And
be honest.
Honest no matter what.
That.
Honest no matter what. That's playing games.
Yeah,
if you like a sister, you should better say, I really like her. That don't mean y'all doing nothing else.
Right, exactly. But be straight with your wife. And like you said, check with your wife first. Have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? But you want to hold a sister on the side and just, have you a side chick. That's disrespectful to your wife, to yourself, and to the sister.
Yeah. What I do sometimes, like if I see a sister and she does, I say, babe, she hooked up, ain't she? And we can have that conversation without know nothing.
Right.
Because it's just an observation. She know that I'm not about to go in that room and look for the sister.
Right.
It's just an observation. And if she see a good looking guy, I say, man, he built, ain't he? Because those honesties.
Yeah.
So
it's important.
Be honest to yourself on even if you can. Look, some people say, because the whole thing about plumbing, well, he can't afford to. He can't afford to take care of one. If you want to talk about money, but there's other ways to take care of more than one woman. She got to be willing, he got to be willing, and she got to be willing.
Yeah.
It got to be teamwork.
It's got to be teamwork.
If it ain't teamwork, throw it out the door.
Right.
Throw it out the door.
Right. Well, I mean, I was a first wife. I had two sister wives.
Right.
So I'll tell my story my day.
Right.
But I too believe that it can work, but you have to have the proper balance and you have to have open, honest dialogue.
Yeah.
Everybody involved.
I read something that said about honesty or transparency. Mm-hmm. The explanation they gave, they said honesty is if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Right.
Transparency is I'm gonna tell you before you have to ask.
Now I like that. I like the transparency.
And the lady said, she said, transparency is saying, baby, tonight I'm gonna go hang out with the fellas. I mean, might be a little sisters there, but that's how I'm gonna be. Honesty is when she found out an action, you say yeah.
Right.
What do you prefer? Me personally, so I like transparency.
I think I prefer definitely transparency.
Everybody don't have that. Some people
Yeah.
just honest person.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
like that.
I like the transparency.
See, you can learn from everybody at any age. Total Aharon, I appreciate that.
And that stuck with me. Kind of like, man, I like transparency.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
transparency.
yeah.
You know?
Definitely better.
So,
So
I still have a good relationship with Ziwa. Even with all the little fallouts we have about ways and whys and monies and but still got a good relationship with her. I definitely keep a good relationship with all my children. One of them right now, we in a little tussle. But look, I don't have a pension plan. I work for myself.
right.
I don't have a pension plan. For me, my pension plan is my kids. And I literally mean that. I don't know. Like, no, let me not say I don't know. I don't know if they'd be able to take care of me. But I know they're willing to, based on the work that I put in. It's not one child that could get up and testify and say, Abba don't come through for me.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Not one child.
You get to America every year to check on your children and be there for whatever event is going on. I remember running into you in the airport one time when I was over there. Yeah, you do. You do.
So that's my pension plan, is they give back at some point. They're all willing. You can ask them. They're all willing. They may not have a mean, but they're all willing. You know, and that's based on what I've done.
Well, hallelujah, you know, hallelujah. And you ain't my Abba, but Toda Rabah. Talk to me a little bit about your business. You built your own business. You've been in business for yourself since 30. You started working at age 11. What was that process like, and what would you recommend to someone that may want to start their own business?
Okay.
And what is your business, the business name, and what do you do? I mean, I know what you do, but for the listening audience.
Okay. I'm a contractor. I work in the field of basically renovations. Renovation from tile, plumbing, sheetrock, paint.
You do plumbing as well?
I build.
I didn't. I knew you did floors.
No. Over the years with Gideon being my partner, I picked up some of his, he picked up some of mine, and we just were just.
That's right. Y'all did work together.
It's all I can do almost everything. Okay. In my younger years, I don't think there's a job you can mention that I haven't did or tried. It's like I worked anywhere, cleaning toilets to being an ozier for somebody, a helper. So one day I get a call from Ben Kulai. He said, "Man, Charlie, if anybody know the banana boy, the banana man,
banana nose man that hit that store,
the French man in America."
He had a little store in that little alleyway. Yeah. We called him Banana Nose Man.
That was Charlie Daba.
Okay.
So I knew him, and I knew, the father and him. He said, "Man, Charlie looking for somebody to do roof, like to do floors, like to work with him." At the time, me and Anafiel was doing Ahk. Okay, that's cement plaster. I like, man, this would be good. You do this, and I go learn and do this. And that's so first day I go to work. I'm standing over him looking. Like seeing what he doing. I was like intrigued, like I want to know what's going on. He said, "You gonna be a tile layer one day." I said, "How you know?" He said, "I see how you interested. Work ethics. Go back to
right.
So I worked for him about 2.5 years. One day he mistakenly fired me. All this time, like in these years, Anafiel had mastered doing Ahk, and he kept saying, "Man, let's do our own thing. Leave him, man." Let's do our thing. No, man, he's a good guy. He been too good to me. He bring me lunch. He bring me clothes. He
so
pay me
you wasn't
good.
just going to kick him to the curb like that.
I said, "I'm not going to just leave him."
So there's a sense of loyalty.
Yeah. So one day, it was me and a worker from the community. We were supposed to be out on a shishi at 6 in the morning. I woke up at 6. Rush out there, 6:20. Get in the car. He fussing. I'm wrong. Just wake up. Right. But I ain't got nothing to say. Please don't keep fussing. But
right, right.
So we drive going to Beersheba. On the way to Beersheba, just before they had these 2 lanes, there was one lane.
It was just one in each direction, and no street lights at night.
He brought it up again. I like, "Look, Charlie, enough. If you tired of me, tell me to go to hell." I said, "But it happens. 2.5 years, Never been late? It happens. Under pressure, you don't give a damn about me. F you. In essence.
Wow.
Turn the car around to my down the bottom. All the way to the morning, I'm bagging him.
So wait a minute. He turned the car around, didn't even go to the job, and
Take
came
me
back to
Demona
Jamona.
to drop me off. I'm bagging him, but not bagging him in the way of I know I need you. It was bagging to resolve this. I'm like, man, this only happened this time. I said, look, you ain't gonna find a worker like me.
Right.
I come toothache, stomach ache, headache, knee ache, no matter what, I'm at work. If I wanted a cofish, I would tell him months in advance to prepare him. Wasn't no pop up and don't come to work.
Right.
Again, work ethics. Whatever. Like, cool. He dropped me off. The first week, now I feel like, man, come on. Let's go do something. I said, nah, I'm still waiting.
So you just stayed home.
I stayed home because I was like, still, he going to make up because he was a good guy. He made up, and I'm loyal to him. The second week, I started going out telling people. I said, look, I'm doing this on my own now. You want me? Some said, about time. Some of them said, how you going to leave him? I like hand and glove.
It ain't. I left him. He left me.
Right. So I had closed out a job. In the second week, because he owed me some money, he came to give me my money, and he was like, man, you know, like husband and wife, they fuss, but I mean, they make up, and blah, blah. I said, yeah, before now. I said, this time I'd have made a decision. I'm about to go work for myself. He was like, I mean, I need you to do, back then it was like the robot wasn't colorful. Like the grout, it wasn't colors. I made the colors. Like,
so you have to add paint to it?
Add something to it to make it a color. Perfect. I was perfect at it. And he never did it. It was me that was doing it. So he did these bathrooms. He said, man, I need you to come and do this, the robot, the grout in these bathrooms. I said, well, my condition is that you hire my brother too, because by the time then we had teamed up.
Uh-huh.
You hire him too. He said, I said, I don't know. He said, cool, I got something for him to do. He dropped me off first, and he was taking my brother, and my brother told him, he said, the best thing you can do right now is get work subcontracted to him, and you can make money and he be good. Man, he don't even know how to hold the trial. Now Phil said, if he don't know how to do that after 2.5 years, you're a bad teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't want to accept the fact that was going to happen.
Right.
And I was adamant about this point. I don't care if I get work, don't get work. I'm working for myself now. You opened the door.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
So we still stayed close. I mean, he sold me a truck one time, and every time he see me get out the car, we kiss. You know what I mean? We still close.
Right.
But that's when I decided I'm gonna work for myself.
So oversleeping turned out to be a blessing.
Blessing I did. Blessing in disguise. Never know.
Right. You never know.
So over the years, I've worked with. I had maybe like about at one time maybe 6 workers at one time.
Wow.
Yeah. Mostly everybody who do tile in the community, I taught. Azaria, Eddie Natan, even Ben Kai gave him some lessons. Gidon, he knew a little bit about it, but I gave him the major lessons. You know, Gidon was the only person at that time that was able to hang with me as far as doing tile.
Right.
Now, you know, I'm 60, so it's just me and the worker now. I don't have the same energy. I mean, you know, and then workers ain't the same no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was no. You didn't have to call me in the morning to go to work. If you say meet you at that 7, I'm not that 5 to 7 waiting on you. Right. Today you got to call them and bag them, get up, wake up, do this. I mean, you're on. You know,
that's crazy.
I remember back in the day we would work, and one of my kids didn't get up. I would go and work by myself, mix up cement, lay the tile down, clean up, because I knew what I was up against.
Right.
Today, I don't have the same energy.
So you taught all of your sons then, huh?
I taught them. They haven't. None of them picked it up like I know. But everything that I do, their hands from me.
That's a blessing. What advice would you give to someone that may want to go into business or start their own business for themselves?
For one, if you don't have, your responsibility ain't good, your loyalty ain't good, your work ethic ain't good, don't do it. Go work for somebody.
Right.
Somebody tell you when to come and go. Because there's a lot of responsibilities that come with that. You got to wonder where the money coming from, where the supplies coming from, who coming. If they ain't there, you got to be there. is a lot of responsibility to come with working for yourself. Because working for yourself means other people involved.
And then there's still the paperwork and
It's still
tax and all
paperwork
that
and
kind
all
of
that
stuff
stuff
that
still got to be
got to be
done.
done.
It's a
dealt
lot.
with.
It's a lot. Whereas, I had a joke with Get On. I said, man, you got it made, dude. I said, you get to go home and sleep. I wake up in the middle of the night wondering what connection I didn't buy and what I got to do, where the money come from, get the flyer from. You got it good. We laughed and joked about that for a minute, but yeah. So, I'm going to bring up Get On.
Okay, talk about
Right.
Gidon.
I didn't really know Get On in the early years. But I know he was working in something like in the kind of field that I was working in. So one day I told him, man, how about coming to work with me? And me and you just be partners. He was like, cool, let's try it. That's what Get On was slower than me. I'm younger than him by 9 years, so he was slower than me. But we grew a friendship for each other. I mean, like close.
Close.
Real close. The thing about the both of us is that I will tell him what I didn't like or what wasn't cool, what wasn't straight, and he would tell me. It wasn't them friends that, you be like, man, I did fall my way. Yeah, she ignorant. He was like, man, but you did, blah, 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 blah. And vice versa. I said, man, how you going to do that? That don't make no sense. What he did with it was on him. What I did was on me. But it was always an honesty and straightforward with us.
Transparency.
And that's what I loved about Get On. I didn't hold my tongue. He didn't hold his. He going to tell me, whether I like it or not.
Whether you like it or not.
He would tell me straight. So that's what kept our friendship. Even when he decided he going to start working for me, because I wasn't an easy boss.
I'm not surprised.
Even when he decided to start working for me, and him we still remain close. Still close. He passed. I got to get his. He passed. His birthday is on the 8th of October. My daughter Tim and our birthday is on the 8th of October. Yehalel, my son, passed on the 8th of October.
Oh, wow.
So the 8th of October, I'm all over the place.
Yeah. It's a lot of emotions packed into that.
And I made a conscious decision when we went to the funeral in the States that we will not have a memorial on Timmy's birthday. We would just, on your own, you can remember Yalel, do a drink for him, whatever you want to do. But we're going to celebrate the day he was born.
Okay.
Which is July 23rd. But there's still a lot of emotions on that day.
Right.
On that 8th, it's so many emotions.
Yeah.
So that's losing my best friend. Losing a son. I thought losing a mother was the end of the world. Losing a son, I can't say the end of the world because I'm still here.
Yeah.
But it felt like the end of the
Yeah.
world. It's more than I can explain. I remember Ravia when he lost his son.
Yeah.
And he stood up in there saying what it was like losing a son.
Yeah.
I couldn't even fathom.
Right.
If he had told me to explain the feeling that he was feeling, I can explain it and feel it today.
Right.
Me and Yala was real close. He was like my right hand man.
He was your twin.
To lose him, it was a lot.
Yeah.
I lost
know.
a lot.
I know.
Lost a lot. And I would say this for the sake of the audience. Any call I got from the States, like something happened, Yalel, first name. What I did get after him passing is the calmness. Like the call wasn't what Yalel did.
Something was happening with Yahalel. Yeah.
That's what I can take from it. But the pain is,
Yeah.
I wish it on nobody.
No, absolutely.
And I
not.
tell my kids all the time, I said, I don't give a f. You have to live. I can't bury another child. You supposed to be burying me.
Right.
I don't supposed to be burying you. That's just the natural cycle of life.
Right.
So whatever y'all need to do to maintain, and you think you need to go after I leave. But don't go out.
Okay, go after I leave.
You know?
Toda for sharing that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what else do we have on here? I'm going to ask one more question, then I'm going to do the trivia, and then we have our closeout questions. Okay. You've served as a leader. You are just a natural born leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you ever see yourself in a leadership position in government in the kingdom?
No more.
You said no?
No.
You don't want to?
No. Look, to me, there's a lot of politics involved. When leadership in the kingdom was supposed to have nothing to do with politics. If you need to edit this part, you can. But the nepotism that I see, the unfairness, I can't be a part of that.
You don't think that you getting in there might change some of that?
I'm gonna give you some. Like I said, remember I told you earlier that I had an example. Anything you came to me with, I can give you an explanation to. I got to the point I couldn't give you the explanation no more because things was happening that you was complaining about happening to me. Okay, the senior brothers board. This after after a period of time, I had right at the end of me and Ruth's relationship, get on the senior brother board. Men get on. It's funny because we was drinking one day, and they're like, man, you know these brothers. I think Shariel and Mata moved on. He said, man, we're going to let take over the senior brothers? I said, tell you what, you be the chair and I be the co-chair. Now, we drinking. We were just talking. We got to drinking, I said, but we're going to have this conversation again tomorrow when we sober.
Right.
The next day, he was like, you be chair and I be co-chair. I said, no, get on. You going to chair and I'm a co-chair. And we did toss it around. We're like, we accept. When they found out that I was going to be the co-chair, they fought it. They fought it. Mm-hmm. They fought him too, but I'm saying the justification of their fight was I wasn't up on my national responsibilities. Whereas Gideon wasn't on his either.
No.
They accepted that, but wouldn't accept mine.
But wait a minute. Why would they accept his, not accept yours, if neither one of you were up on your...
At this time, I'm arrogant, as they say. Can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? I think by the time then I started wearing the earring. So I wasn't, even though Gideon couldn't be controlled, but he's still on the kafar, still in the midst. I'm out the kafar, doing what I want to do. So, and I was okay with it. Because, and I told Gideon this from that. I said, man, he said, if I'm going to be chair, you're going to be coach, I don't care what nobody says. So that's how I got to be. Okay. We set a board. We started setting guidelines and stuff for the senior brothers. Our job for us was to make changes in the kingdom. I remember asking you to be our secretary.
Yeah.
And we were trying to do it slow, but at the same time, some concern that was
pressing
to us. It's a lot of stuff you can go to.
Right.
But it was pressing for us. We finally get in the document form. It was changing the marriage of the lamb, changing the way Sukkot presentations be, changing the order of brother meeting. There's one more. And they shot it down and attempted to set us down. Because at the time, that's how problem we get on. And we refused to allow them to dictate if get on will be the chair or not. We said, we're dealing within us. We won't have no chair period no more.
Right.
We just be a board.
Right.
But we is not kicking them to the side. They did all they can do. It was a lot of mess. I then knew that I was done with the leadership in the nation. Not done with them like that, but done with me wanting to be a part of that.
Wanting to be a part of that because you felt like you couldn't make change.
I couldn't make no changes
within the structure, current structure, the way things are. Yeah.
I know my ability. You know, everybody always say, man, you're a leader, See,
you are.
Oh, that's good and fine. I'm okay with leading from the sideline. When I talk, people listen.
Right.
That's good enough for me.
Right.
I don't have to be on none of that. You know, it's sad because I know what I can bring to it. But like, I love my wife. I give all I can to her.
Right.
I can pick and choose what I want and don't want to. I want to go with me, I don't go. Love the nation. Get that straight. I love the kingdom. I consider myself a part of it until you say I'm not a part of it. I do wear earrings. I wear culture when I go to the kafar outside of just going to play ping pong or something.
Right.
I do still respect that. But it was so much nepotism and so much political mess in it that
Yeah.
for my own sanity.
I'm
Let me
clear.
move on. For my own
I am
sanity.
perfectly clear.
Yeah, I know you know. I know you know.
It's a freedom in making your own decisions. And, you know, yes, it can be lonely sometimes
Yeah.
not having that connection, but the peace of mind that I have when I close my door, when I close my eyes, when I
Yeah.
open my eyes,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's me. It ain't, you know, not taking anything away from Yah, man, woman, child, but
Right.
at this point it's Yah and Racayah. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
Ain't no
right.
middleman,
No man.
you know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, and that's not taking anything away from anybody else. But so these are my little trivia cards.
Okay.
And it's 4 different categories. Just pick one. Don't look at it because the answers are on there. So I have to read it for you. And then we'll talk
okay.
about it.
Okay.
Okay, so this is favorites.
Okay.
Your favorite childhood game.
Woo.
Chevevani.
I had a couple of them. Abadoobie.
Might say Abadoobie. Never heard of that
That
one.
used to be in the middle. A person in the middle, you had to throw the ball. Somebody, like a couple of people in the middle, you got to dodge the ball.
Oh, we used to call it monkey in the middle.
Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
Abadoobie? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Hide go see and Chevavani.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Did you play Gulo too? I think
I played it. Look, as a kid, as a half teenager and on, I didn't play sports.
no.
I was into my books. But I supported all my friends' sport events.
So you would
I was
always
always
be at the
there,
games.
always, but I didn't want to participate in it. I remember Nasir Akameen, I think I was like 17. He said, "Bang, you don't play no sports, you're going to be a faggot."
Shut up. That's what he said to you?
Bit you like that. I started playing sports.
You
I
started.
don't want nobody to get it twisted. Even though I knew I was a man enough, but I'm like, I started playing sports.
So what did you start playing?
So I started playing basketball. I did play a little basketball, a little softball. I mean, whatever sport that they do, or play a little soccer. I mean, got really into sports.
Okay. Because you were determined. You weren't going to be called.
You
gay.
ain't going to get it twisted. I ain't the one.
And you're also one of the reigning, well, maybe not reigning now, but have been bid whist players, right?
Me and Bouvain, I think Bid West tournament's been going on for, I would say, maybe 40 years. Me and Bouvain have at least 18 of them years champions.
Wow. But, you know, somebody told me that y'all used to cheat.
Yeah. I can tell you one person who used to really say it. I remember Abdio played with Avior.
And he said y'all
And he
cheated.
turned around and said we were cheating. And this is to the viewers. I say, come watch my game. Anything you see me do that you think signal or cheating, I won't do. Like if you tell me how wrong you get your glasses, I ain't gonna hold my glasses that game. If you tell me I blink, I'm gonna make sure I don't blink. And this is what I told Abdel then. Whatever you see me do, call it out. Look, me and Bouvain been playing together for so long
Y'all just know each
that
other.
we started knowing each other. Now, it's getting different now because we ain't played together like on a normal.
Right, because he's not down here anymore. Right.
Me and Doria.
So you and Doria now.
Right. But I still play them because that's my lifetime partner. You know what I'm saying? So we getting a little intimate, but it's like we knew each other. I knew that Bouvain was the skater, and he knew that I was straight. I ain't skating on cars.
Right.
But I knew he would.
Right.
I could hear it. It was crazy because I could hear in the voice when he bluffing. It was the craziest stuff, but look, playing together for so long, we just knew each other.
You that's
Yeah,
just
there's a
natural.
bond.
Yeah, that's natural.
So-
So y'all play on New World Passover when he come down?
Yeah. Well, he come down for the tournament.
Oh, he does?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
who's his partner now?
Me and him.
Oh, y'all
partners.
still play?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's
All
my
right.
lifetime partner. I ain't
All
get that
right,
up.
hey, loyalty.
See, he can't come no more, right? Okay, I
another
did a yellow one. So,
Okay, so the green ones are your personal thoughts on, we just talked about this, family, divine marriage, parenting, children's roles in the family. You talked
we talk
about all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, pick another one.
I'm going to add to as far as children are concerned. We couldn't be heard as children. We couldn't be heard. We couldn't say our thoughts. Nobody.
Oh, when you say you couldn't be hurt, you weren't allowed to express your emotions as
Right.
far as if you were hurt or
Right.
sad or upset about
Right.
something.
Right. And adults didn't. A lot of emotions that adults had, they didn't even express them. Like the simple things of hugging a child. People didn't do that back then
Right.
for whatever reason. So a lot of youngsters didn't get them emotions because we didn't show that.
Yeah. But
know what I'm
just so
saying?
you know, it wasn't just the kingdom. I grew up in a family household where neither one of my parents hugged or kissed us. That was our household. You
Yeah.
know, we were provided for, well provided
Yeah,
for. You
yeah.
know, I remember when I got married at like 19, that was the first time either one of my parents had ever kissed me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I only say in the kingdom because that's all I know.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you should kiss your child.
Yeah, you should hug your
Boy or
children.
girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's a different affection. I learned this from the Godfather. That when a man kisses a man, that's a different kind of affection.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So kissing should be a part. Hugging should be a part of. Talking to, allow them to talk. Come and let them just tell you about yourself.
And listen.
And listen. And these are the things that we didn't have growing up. So this is one of the things that I try to do, and I ain't got it all together because I'm still in my old mindset
Right.
of how I was raised. But I try to listen. Try to let them talk. Try to tell them I love them. Try to hug them or, be there for them.
Right.
So I think that's key in raising kids today.
Okay.
Yeah. I did it. What I do? A green
You
one,
did
right?
a green. We got a yellow. We got a green.
All right.
Okay, orange. Orange or fill in the blank. Name at least 5 current businesses in Israel owned or operated by someone that grew up in the kingdom. The business name and the person's name. You start with yours.
Right. That'd be perfect, right? Start with mine. Name of my business is Ahk Ben Israel, which is the Ben Israel brothers.
Okay.
Okay.
Achim ben Yisrael.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yair.
Okay.
I don't know the name of his business.
Oten Tevi.
Oten Tevi. Ben Kolaya. Deli Tevi. Deli Tevi.
Teva Deli.
Teva Deli. Anafiel, his is just, what his is? I don't remember the name of his business.
Okay, but he's got a business.
He got a business. And then Yehuda.
Okay,
Yehuda
and
from-
Yerucham.
I don't know him his, but he got
Okay.
one too.
All right.
Yeah.
Toda Rabah.
All right.
Okay. So you can get one or two more.
What I need?
Whatever color you want. You can get with all the same color if you want. It's up to you.
Nah, I
But
like
you got
the
you got
variety of it.
one of you don't have a blue.
I don't have a blue. Okay.
Okay, so the blues, were you there? Were you there? Shkunat Hanitzachon memories.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's something you remember from Shkunat Hanitzachon? Did you all live in Shkun or y'all lived in one of the houses outside?
Well, we lived in Chicago when we first got here. We stayed in 13.
Okay.
And again, we was all in one place. When you left out your door to the Shikun, that's where we was. We didn't go wandering off nowhere. So that helped form that togetherness.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying that my peer wasn't no boyfriend or girlfriend, but life wasn't just about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There's more to it.
Even when we got older, we literally used to go out with a bunch of guys or a bunch of girls went somewhere, went on trips and all this. It just got later on in life where you got to be with a girl, you got to be with a boy. But with us, it was about camaraderie amongst us, which was real good.
So you grew up during the time when there was only a couple of bikes and everybody was in the little Shikun.
Yeah, you
sharing
got in
the
line
bikes,
for that
the
bike.
roller
Yeah,
skates
matter of
and
fact,
all
with 2
that.
bikes.
Right. Right.
A girl bike and a boy bike.
And the times when they had the ice cream machine. Down
Yeah,
in the
yeah. You had to
basement
wait in line
and
forever to
all
get it.
night long. And then they run
you
out.
get up there and right before you get there.
I stopped eating the ice cream. I told somebody else I stopped eating Glita just for that reason. I was so mad. And then Nancy King would send down, give me 12 for Abba Gabriel. Give me the rock.
Right,
Shashi
yeah.
Shrey is sending
Yeah,
down for
send up
9.
there, yeah.
You know, Abba Shalik.
And only 3 come out at a time.
Right.
So if he said you waiting an hour just for him to get his.
Man, that happened
Yeah.
to me 2 or 3 times. I was like, bump it. Ice cream ain't that good. I'll eat something else.
Interesting.
Yep. Okay, hallelujah. Okay, so we're down to our last couple of
Okay.
questions. One of the questions always asked towards the end is do you have any goals, dreams, visions, etc. that you haven't yet accomplished that you'd like to accomplish?
Today, no.
Today, no?
I believe that I accomplished more than I put out to accomplish.
Okay.
Like when I was a child, I wanted to be ambassador.
You did?
Yep. But I got to be ambassador in a different field in land tile.
Right.
I went out a couple of times on assignments to do work.
Oh, okay. All right.
You
So
know
what's
what
some
I'm
of the places you've traveled to?
We did something in London, me and
Okay.
Scott Levy, Ghana,
Okay.
and then the complex in D.C.
Oh, okay. All
Yep.
right.
So,
Okay.
that was like the flip side to me out speaking.
Right.
you know,
Right.
today my main focus today is my family. I mean, that's like the real is everything for me today.
Right.
You know, and that's 2 years, 10 years different. So keeping up with her.
Right.
You know what I mean? Trying to, so.
Okay. So, how do you envision our youth in regard to them continuing what we've spent many years of our lives building and being a part of? What advice would you give them?
Well, I have to give the advice to the older generation first. Let go.
Let go?
Let go. Give it to them.
Ah, okay.
I had to give it to them first because still trying to hold on to them positions.
Pass the baton.
Pass the baton. Ain't nobody, and I'm gonna say even in my peer starting to be mayors of cities. They start young.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get in them companies, they start young. By the time they my age, they CEO about to retire.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm young compared to the Nitsakim and the time and them.
Right.
Let it go. Newness can only come from a new mind. Newness can't come from my same mind. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Right.
Newness comes from younger people.
Okay.
They're the ones who bring life. They're the ones who change the idea. It may be hurtful that you got to let it go. It may be challenging, but you got to let it go. For the young people that want to get in it and take it, make yourself valuable. When you become valuable, sorry, Asriel is valuable.
He's valuable.
So whatever they don't like about him, or whatever they don't see him, or however they think he dressed, whatever, he's valuable. He done made himself valuable. He done find him a position to be valuable. Need him. Not want to give it to him, but they need him.
Yeah.
So as a youngster, find your area that you passionate about, get in it, and take it. Make them changes. But like I said, the old heads don't give it to them, still take it.
Right. Okay. All right. And then my very last question. Is there anything that we have not talked about that you would like to share? Any closing comments that you want to?
If I could write a book, I think it would take me a long time to write it because the experiences, I mean, we just touched on in general. There's so many experiences come to my marriages.
Every one of them could be its own
Everyone
chapter
could be
in
their own
itself.
chapter by itself and pages.
Right.
Because look, we live and learn. You know what I'm saying? Sadly, some of us have to live to learn,
Right.
in opposed to learning from the past.
Right.
Because we think we know. Younger people really think they know. I'm not saying they don't.
And
but
some
it's
things they
people-
do.
But it's some people that done been in some places already that you're gonna say, so what? And they could give you that little bit that you might be missing to take you a little further.
Right.
You know what I mean? Saying like you said when you get class about plumeric, who want to hear it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if I came talking against what they believe, give you an example on something. I married Ziwa. 11 11 years later, I married Doria. The priesthood classes were the video same priesthood classes from when I married Ziwa.
From 11 years.
That's not progress.
No.
That's not change.
Right.
I gave.
Well,
I
some
told
people.
her,
Well, some people would say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
it was broke. Because if it wasn't broke, we wouldn't have got to that case, to that pace.
Mm-hmm.
You have to change. It ain't about if it ain't broke. Upgrade.
Upgrade. Always upgrade.
You ain't gonna keep the same computer forever.
Right. I've had this one for 10 years. It's time to go.
You got to upgrade.
It's upgrade. Yeah.
That's in life, period. We have
Yeah.
to upgrade our life,
Yeah.
our doctrine. I told the Nitsa King. We had a meeting and I told him, I said, look, changes is inevitable. You have to change. I'm gonna give you a small example.
Here, I want to make sure that you get in the mic
Yeah,
for this.
I'm
In fact,
gonna
you
get-
can change this, pull this a
Yeah.
little bit this way if you want.
I'm gonna give you a small example of what I mean by change. The 7 pillars upon which we live by.
Yeah.
It said abstention from alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna read the rest of it. How much alcohol we drink. Change it. They don't have to say that.
Right.
Because our alcohol is the alcohol that get on wine is higher than any alcohol that we.
Could buy outside.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, why not change that?
So it should be in moderation.
Something because we do drink it.
Right.
You read that and then say we don't, then be like, what the heck?
Right.
So there's a lot of things like that. We just because it was a pillar, you scared to move it as if something gonna shake and fall.
Right.
Move it. Make that change. So, and there's a lot of things. If you just went, I know you know. You can go to one area to another. Make some young priests.
Well, I did talk with Cohen Robbie about that when we did his interview, and that was one of the questions I asked him about young priests, and he was saying yes, they are working on making that happen.
And young priests mean you sit down. That's another thing they're afraid of. He not gonna see it the way you say. He gonna teach different than you teach.
Right.
But that's what the young people need. His teaching.
Right.
Your teaching is people look. I give since I had a family, all the holy days I sit down and teach my kids about the holy days. I'm still today doing it. Mm-hmm. You think they remember? You would think they do, but they don't. Mm-hmm. Because they don't see it like I see it.
Right.
And that's okay with me.
Right.
I'm going to still teach so you can at least know, but they don't see it like I see it. They don't give a fly about no holy day like that.
Right.
If it wasn't because I maintained it, they probably wouldn't do it.
Right.
What holy day come up, one they don't even know. Mm-hmm. You follow what I'm saying? So it's like you have to start feeding into them based on where they at.
Right. Right.
That's all we going to get. You trying to teach them Robbie Wade, they have don't even know Robbie.
Right.
Like we know Robbie.
Right.
So change. I'm saying Koinim needs to keep change. Change.
Right.
So
Well, Toda to the listening audience as we close out. Another great interview, another great opportunity for me to sit and hear somebody's story. I love it. This is food for me. I don't know if y'all know this.
I know.
It fuels me. It inspires me. It motivates me. You know, and I love it. So, Toda Aharon, I appreciate you always.
Yeah.
So, thank you for joining, and join us next time.
Thanks.
Shalom.
Shalom.